Hello, Marcus Boston. Quick video. The question that I got offline was a compressed umbilical cord and a traumatic brain injury like HIE or hypoxic ischemic encephalopathy. In that context, when a woman's going through labor and delivery, how do doctors and nurses, how do they know that your baby's umbilical cord might be compressed or that your baby may be going through a condition called fetal distress due to a compression of an umbilical cord? And so when we back up and we step back with this issue, I want to help you understand that when we are evaluating or when we are doing an investigation as to the cause of a baby's traumatic brain injury at birth, one of the first areas of research or one of the first areas of analysis will be what we call the electronic fetal heart monitor. And this monitor allows the doctors and the nurses in real time to get an understanding of how well your baby is tolerating a vaginal delivery. And so mom's going to be hooked up to a device, and that device is going to be not only monitoring mom's contraction patterns, but they're also going to be looking at the baby and the baby's heart rate and things like deceleration patterns, if there's acceleration patterns, variability, a whole host of things. And so as labor and delivery is going on, when there is a compression of the umbilical cord, what you can see sometimes is you may have the fetal heart rate, it may be in a certain range, and then all of a sudden you will see the heart rate just drop. It'll just bottom out. And so when this occurs, that could be evidence of a cord compression. And if you see this drop or you've got this drop pattern going on for a considerable amount of time, then of course that can be problematic for a baby. Because look, you don't have to be a medical doctor or someone with a vast amount of medical knowledge to understand the role of the umbilical cord. As some people say and some people put it, an umbilical cord is the baby's lifeline. It's connected to mom and it allows the baby to get, blood and oxygen and other nutrients. So the umbilical cord is important. And if you have that compression of that umbilical cord and that compression goes on for a considerable amount of time, then of course your baby can be in trouble or your baby can suffer a traumatic brain injury. Now you may be saying, okay, well then what can cause the umbilical cord to become compressed during labor and delivery? There's a lot of things that can lead to a baby having a compressed umbilical cord. For example, like a condition called shoulder dystocia. And shoulder dystocia occurs when a baby becomes trapped behind the mother's pelvis, and this creates an emergency in the delivery room. And so when you have a shoulder dystocia type of condition, there's always a threat that that umbilical cord can also get pinned. And if the umbilical cord gets pinned, then of course you can have compression, which can lead to a reduction in blood and oxygen, which can lead the baby to, again, suffer a traumatic brain injury. So I know that I talked about a lot in this video, but I'm trying to help you understand this umbilical cord compression issue, which is really important when we are talking about labor and delivery. It's important that doctors and nurses, that they do monitor things like the electronic fetal heart monitor. They do talk with mom. They do understand what's going on, because if you do have a situation in which the baby could be suffering from what we call fetal distress, there are things that the hospitals and the doctors and the nurses that they can do: move mom, give her oxygen, change positions, do all of these other types of things to help try to fix the problem, so to speak. But if these things do not work, if these conservative measures, if they don't seem to be clearing up whatever is causing the fetal distress or causing the problems for the baby during labor and delivery, in some instances, doctors and nurses, doctors specifically, they must move to an emergency C-section when warranted. And if the doctors or nurses, if they're late or they're delayed moving to that emergency C-section, then of course that also can cause problems for a baby. If you have more questions, maybe you're watching this video today because your baby has suffered a traumatic brain injury like HIE, hypoxic ischemic encephalopathy, and you have questions. Who caused it? Was it something that the doctors or the nurses or the hospital? Was it something that they did, or was it something genetic or developmental? You have these types of questions. If that's you, what I invite you to do is go ahead and pick up the phone and call me. There is a telephone number that is on the screen. It costs nothing to talk with with me initially about your baby story. When you call my office at my secretary, let them know that you would like to get on my calendar for a day and a time, a date and a time to speak with me or us about what is going on with your baby. One more thing before I get out of here. I practice law in the state of Maryland, and I know that this video is on the internet, it's on social media and all of these other places, and I can't control who is going to reach out and contact me. Understand this, if you do reach out and you call me and you are not in Maryland, understand that we have to use what we call co-counsel or local counsel. In other words, an attorney in your state, and that's something that we can work with you on, but I just want to make sure that you understand that co-counsel or that local counsel aspect of things if you are not in the state of Maryland. All right, that's going to be it for today's quick educational video. Again, I'm Marcus Boston, and I'm one of the childbirth injury and medical malpractice attorneys practicing law in the state of Maryland at Boston Law Group, LLC. We'll talk with you next time. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day.